came in not expecting to talk to anyone. I'm still I was skeptical, still am knots in my stomach of what's going on.
I knew tonight my mom was going to come through. I wasn't sure about my dad. And my mother is a nurse, and he spoke about how my daughter is going to college for nursing.
To know that they were here with us and that they were speaking to us through these special people, I cried. They were great tears. They were tears of relief. They were tears of happiness, and as I said before, I have a lot of direction.
I was so surprised because I didn't expect him to come to me out of a room full of people, and it was terrific. It was right on. Every single thing he was saying was exactly right on.
I think that people find this to be baloney until you sit down with one of these mediums or any other experienced medium, and they are telling you things that it leaves no shadow of a doubt that it's real.
Welcome to our demonstration of mediumship. My name is Sharon and Siubis. On behalf of my colleagues, Bill Coller, Richard Schoeller, we do welcome you. We're glad that you're here. We're glad that you're joining us, and we're really looking forward to really a terrific night together. In terms of trying to understand together that life is continuous, that when we are done with this physical body, that we're not really done. We're just at the start of a new adventure.
I then checked my phone. It was my oldest daughter who was trying to get in contact with me. So I immediately called her back into the UK to find out that her mother, my ex-wife, had just died. She just passed away. Sympathy vote, But then bereavement kicks in, which is normal, but then you've got to work with it. You've got to manage it. And as mediums, we've got to be professional about it. Even though we are touched by death, as everybody is touched by death. It doesn't only happen to you, it happens to us as well. But we've got to learn to understand death, we've got to learn to manage death, and we've got to learn to be professional about the way we then continue. Because we try to give people the impression, which I believe is wrong, that how good it is to be dead. You know, no IRS, you don't have to worry about stuff, how good it is to be dead. And I feel that's a wrong impression to give people, because people who pass away can also be bereaved as well.
Right over here in the 1, 2, 3, the fourth row, second seat from the corner, there's a young lady with a sandy blonde hair, beautiful set of earrings, black and white top. So I have 3 people standing with you right now. First, I have a father standing off of your right-hand side. Would you understand your dad in spirit?
Yes.
Passing, I do have illness process here. So would you agree that there was illness in his passing?
Yes.
He's giving me a quality of passing as being a limited time of passing. I don't have a long illness here. And he's actually giving me about 3 weeks. So would you understand 3 weeks of illness? Thank you. You aren't able to say goodbye to your father at the moment of passing. Would you agree with that? Thank you. Please hear this as his acknowledgement of that moment and comfort to you no matter what. And your father just gave you a kiss on the cheek, so I have to make sure you hear that, all right? He did. So this is your husband, please? Because he just walked over to your husband. May I speak to you for a moment, sir? Thank you. Your first name?
Mark.
Mark, it's nice to meet you, Mark. Your father-in-law is patting you on the back, so I do have to give you a pat on the back from him. He's giving me the feeling of knowing you. Agreed?
Yes.
And quite literally, I don't know if you called him Dad, but he gave me the feeling of being Dad to you. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, in his passing also, I get that, I've got to make sure I express his gratitude to you for helping your wife to get through it. And in this, there is family, forgive me, there is family disruption or chaos that was going on within your family at the time of your father's passing? Well, okay. Your father gave me the feeling, and I'm not trying to, like Bill said, we never try to offend or insult or embarrass anyone. You have siblings, agreed?
Yes.
More than one.
Yes.
And quite literally, at the time of Dad's passing, they weren't all in the local area, agreed? And disruption for me, from your father's perspective, is we weren't able to get the wake started right away, or the funeral process. We have people coming in, and I don't feel everyone's on the same grieving pattern with Dad. Would you understand that?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, that's for description, but he wants me to go back to Mark. He wants me to thank you for helping your wife to maintain her composure with her family. He's grateful to you for that. And I want you to know, you're a mom and dad, please. You have children, please.
Yes.
Because your dad wants to first say hello to the kids, so say hello to your children. But second, he wants to express that he's proud of the two of you for giving your children a solid and firm foundation in emotions and understanding of death. So you must have helped your children deal with other deaths other than your father's, agreed?
Yes.
Hear your dad being proud of that. Now he is moving back to his daughter, so forgive me, I have to leave you, Mark. When I'm with your father, he keeps giving me the feeling of mom. So I've got to acknowledge mom in the spiritual realm also. And I also have to acknowledge it because before I said there was chaos, and I said with your mother's passing, but I stopped myself because I was with Dad. Your mom has passed into the spiritual realm. She's at your left-hand side with Dad. She wants to make sure you know he wasn't showing up alone, all right? Now, respectfully, it's none of my business. I want to describe your mother's physical stature, but your mother has a private nature. So I really can't describe her physical form because she won't let me. Would you understand that being pretty, sound like mom? Yeah, she's telling me not to be a smart aleck. She didn't say Alec. Does that sound like mom? Okay, so hear that I won't, I promise. I need to make sure you know that your mom and your dad are having a glorious time together, all right? It is not easy to lose parents, and it's not easy to be in the world without them. And your mom wants to give you comfort for the times that you go to pick up the phone still, and she's not there. Would you understand that? Thank you. Now, what your mom is pretty wild. Your mom's pretty amazing. I almost said wild, and I'm wondering why first. She's saying not wild. Wild would make her sound like a sorority girl in college, and your mom's not that way at all. But she is fascinating. While I'm with your mother, she gives me a feeling of being respectfully old-fashioned mom. There's nothing extraordinary going on here. I will. Your mother had to raise her family while your father worked, agreed? And your mother was, God bless her, a slave to her children, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but their upbringing and their education. Would you agree with that? And you went through a college experience and graduated, please.
Yes.
Your mother gave me the feeling of you going on past high school for education. So, statement, you went through a college experience.
Yes.
I've got your mother's pride because she feels like she can take credit for getting you there. Does that sound like mom's pride for you? Now there's one more thing. You have a daughter?
Yes.
And she's in college. Not yet. Can I have the latitude of that? So you said it because I was going to go there next. You're looking at college for her? You better know that your mother is following your daughter or tracking your daughter. Wherever she decides to go, you better know that your mother will be there with her, okay? Now, it's hard as a mother to let your daughter go away. It's hard as a father to let your daughter go away. I need to make sure you both walk out of here knowing that mom will be right on her tail, and I mean that in the nicest of ways, okay? You also have a son, please?
Yes.
And he's the younger of the two? No. Can I have the latitude of then describing him as a little less, as your daughter being a little more mature than her brother? Can I have that latitude then? Because your mother, I don't mean to offend him, but your mother gave me the feeling of him still being undecided in life and a little less together. No offense. Thank you. And your mother doesn't even like that I said that. So forgive me a second. Your mother is somewhat reprimanding me for the languaging I'm using. Does that sound like your mother? So I'm apologizing to her right now, but also to you. I meant no offense. Thank you. When I'm with your mom, thank you. He's working just as hard, but in a different way. And I have to make sure both of you know that your mother is tracking him as well. So your mom loves the kids. Please don't think otherwise. Your father and your mother are now flanking both of you. Just one last thing. Mark, did you and your wife just go looking for new cars, please?
Within a few months, yeah.
Can I have the latitude of a few months?
Yeah.
The feeling I have from your father-in-law, so you're a gentleman who tries to get the best deal on a car, please?
I would say so.
All right. If I can do a comparison, I'm not going to lose you. When I walk into a car dealership, I'm not that savvy. I go in, this is what I can afford, and I don't worry about haggling, and that's not who I am.
We see that you drive a Honda.
Right. But in your experience, you will research and work with the man to try to get the best deal, correct?
Correct.
I was using a comparison. I need you to know that your father-in-law is proud of the fact that you're not letting anyone take advantage of you. And thank you. He's with you in this whole car buying process. So I have to let you know that he's been there, watching out for both of you. And I almost want to say, run with it, get the new car, not the new used car. So hear your father-in-law's support in that. Can I leave you with your father and mother-in-law? And can I go back to your wife, please?
Sure.
Thank you, Mark. I have to make sure you walk out of here today, and I'm going to say skipping, but feeling happy, because your mom and your dad couldn't wait till you got here tonight. And I have to make sure you know that they're watching out for everyone in the family, siblings as well, yours. There is a dog that keeps barking at your left side. The dog that I'm seeing black and brown in color. So would you understand a two-tone colored dog having passed, black and brown? The dog's hair for me feels short to its body, not long. Would you understand that as the dog? Okay. Well, the dog is masculine, I'm clear on that. And it's not because I'm looking, I'm feeling. You feel? Not that way. I'm talking about essentially. No. You see, I'm feeling masculine instead of feminine. I'm not literally feeling.
Please continue. You're digging a deeper hole.
I'll be stepping down now.
Front or back?
Back.
Back. Male or female?
Female. Wow.
Left or right?
Left.
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 Right, we'll go to the very back, left-hand side. Lady, you've got the earrings. It's okay if I talk with you?
Yes.
Okay. You would understand where there is not one, but there are two parents in the spirit world.
Yes.
Both mother and father.
Yes.
You would understand that as a couple, I would not describe it as Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
For the purposes of being nice this evening, they've come to the communication together. but I would not normally associate them as being together. You would understand that. Yes. But as I say, to be nice to you, because each of them has a very different emotional connection with you, and each of them just wants to show a level of camaraderie with you this evening. The one that comes closer to me, but is not necessarily the closest to you, is the Father. The Father. Can you understand that?
No.
You would say the Father was closer to you.
It's confusing.
Yeah, it is confusing. That's why I'm saying to you, the one that you might associate more in your memory process may be more the mother, but the one that I've got dominating a little bit more this evening is the Father.
Yes.
You would understand that?
Yes.
Because I know that with each of them, it's kind of 6 and 2 3s in a way, because they both give me the sense of what I would call a tremendous amount of unfinished business between them and you in terms of their interaction with you. Now, they give me the sense that they feel they could have been more involved with you when they were in this world.
Yes.
And for that, in coming into our communication this evening, they would want to, as it were, apologise to you that they didn't feel their role as parents was really fulfilled the best way it could have been. And I feel they only recognised that once they'd passed into the spiritual world, because I feel they were pretty naive about it when they were here. You would understand that?
Yes.
So sometimes, you know, people have got to pass away to waking up. That is the way life is. And we're not all born to be perfect parents. But when we do waken up in the spiritual world, we can and we do have senses of regrets about lots of history. But I do say to you, from the spiritual world, both of them do take a much bigger interest in your daily routines. Up to now, tomorrow's another day, but up to now they're very proud of you. Tomorrow's another day. So you really need to keep the stuff going. Now, I'm working this as a stereo. I'm holding both of them together. You know, I can separate them out if I need to, but I don't feel I want to at the moment. I want to hold both of them simultaneously. And both of them are taking me into your home. Is it okay if I come into your home?
Yes.
No cleaning. Got a heart condition. No, that doesn't work. Can you understand where you have a dual purpose living room?
Yes.
Because they keep talking about a dual purpose living room. So you're obviously using it for 2 variable functions.
Yes.
Can I go into the living room part of the dual purpose living room?
Yes.
If I can put it to you that. She understands, you don't have to understand. She knows what I'm talking about. As I go and I look down the volume of that living room part, I'm not looking from the door of the living room, I'm looking down the living room towards the end of it. On the right hand side, can you understand where there's a piece of furniture there against the wall?
Yes.
Can you understand where, connected with that furniture, there is more than one reference to your parents there?
Yes.
Because they keep giving me a sense of, I use the term memorabilia
Yes.
as a word, but it best fits what I'm looking for. Because there seems to be memorabilia connected with the spirit world there and connected with the parental side of things. And when mum and dad come to visit you in your home, it is in that part of the room that they locate themselves, and both of them are individually trying to attract your attention. Now, my question to you is, can you understand that you would have a sense of one of them, but not a sense of both of them?
Yes.
Both of them are there. It is just that your antennae is more registering one rather than two. But I need to let you know that both of them are present in that situation, and that kind of concept, you never walk alone, that both of them are there. Now, where that piece of furniture is located, I'm still there. I keep getting a sense of what seems to me like glass or crystal.
Yes.
But where that piece of furniture is.
Yes.
Can you understand where you've had a sense or a feeling of that resonating to a tone or a sound? You know how you would ping crystal and you would get that kind of resonance of glass? Just say you're not sure or you don't know.
Really, I'm not sure. I don't know.
That's okay. Can you just be aware of what I'm saying and maybe kind of pay attention a little bit more? Because it seems to be the way that they're trying to attract your attention. They give you a ping, one for yes and two for no. No. But they give you, it's that sense of trying to let you know that you're not alone. And the last part of this, I must assume that you know this until you tell me you don't, okay? Connected with you, can you understand where there is a partner or ex-partner who's passed away?
Yes.
I assume that you know. You cannot conclude or make deductions. We spoke about this students today. Don't assume anything, you know? Because some people don't know of the partner. If they've been separated for 30 years, they might not know if they've passed away. But I know I've got this partner to you. I use the term partner. Some people live together for 40 years, have 10 kids, no television, but never get married. So I tend to use the word partner rather than husband because it's a more appropriate word. But students, that's for your benefit. So in that sense of things, I've got this partner here who also wants to be remembered to you. And in my sensing of him and his thinking about you is he gives me the sense that you were much better for him than he was for you.
Yes. Yes.
He had to pass away to accept that. Because I do get the sense that in his emotional, natural state, there was a level, and I use this word specifically, there was a level of ego with him that he just needed to learn more humility. And he indicates to me in passing into the spiritual world, he's learned a lot more humility about himself. And he just wants to thank you for the role that you played in his life and the opportunities that you gave him that he did not maximize in the best way. But he certainly wants to thank you for that. And he still thinks, and he's using a terminology that's not words that I would use normally coming from old-fashioned Europe. But he still thinks you're a cutie. Can you understand that?
Yes.
Because he keeps saying to me, she's still a cutie. So he still obviously has an admiration for you. Well, you don't lose your appreciation of things because you pass away. Why should you? But he still has that admiration for you, and he wants you to know that as far as he's concerned, he just wants you to have the fun in life that you deserve. And so don't be a kind of wallflower and don't sit in watching television all day. Just get yourself out there and keep yourself in life. I'm sure that you do, but he just wants to give you that encouragement that you should do that. Can I ask you, what's your relationship with Kim?
We're in class together.
We're friends.
Yeah, we're friends. We've been taking classes on Tuesdays with Sharon.
Okay, because both the parents, not so much the partner, both the parents just said to me to say thank you. I don't know why they would want to say thank you to you, Kim, knowing you. But they just want to say thank you to you. It's as if, I don't know what role you've been playing in her life or how you've been trying to support.
I'm writing really solid notes for her so she gets all of this great information. That might be it.
Okay, because I just know that they're just saying thank you to you for doing a job there, and you're being appreciated in that sense. Now, I've just got one other thing to give you, and this is not bad news, okay? Can you understand in terms of personal health? It's not bad news, watch my lips. Not bad news. No hole in the Holy Cross Cemetery yet. But can you understand where you've been questioning just a little bit your mobility?
Yes.
Because they're just giving me this question of mobility that I've just got to say to you, I'm sorry, but you're suffering from too many birthdays. But there's nothing there that is immobile. So you don't need to worry about losing your mobility. You just need to pay attention to it. And that the spiritual world's up to speed with this. And this is where I wanted to bring in Kim. Have you been talking to Kim about your mobility?
It's kind of hard for us because we sometimes give each other readings when we're practicing. So, actually as he's saying that sounds very familiar. It really does, but I can't recall it.
Because what's being said to me, and I'm not subjecting you to something that would be a problem for you, but what's being said to me is that Kim would have the healing and medical knowledge to be able to give you some support in that direction that's very practical. It's very practical. And that you should kind of exchange information. Are you with me on that?
Yeah, I'm a nurse too, so I don't think you knew that. Okay.
Very practical. Okay, that's it. You're not getting any more. You've had enough. Just take the love and their best wishes for you. Sharon.
Sir, can I come to you? I know I met you before. I'm terrible with names and I apologize. Dennis. And can I come over here to you also? Yes, I know I said hello to you, but your name? Helena and Dennis. You understand Dad in the spirit world, Dennis, for you. Yes. And Helena, you understand Dad in the spirit world for you. Because I've got both dads, and I know you don't know each other, and I understand that. So it's not like your long-lost brother and sister or anything like that. Two different dads for two different purposes, but they come in together on some similarities, okay? So if you'll both, we'll work back and forth with this. Understand, Dennis, with your dad, as I just start to work with him, there's a sense here that he felt he didn't get done everything he wanted to get done in life while he was here. Do you understand that about your dad?
Yes.
Yes, okay? Because he's giving me the sense as we just start the communication that he feels that you have done more in your life with opening and questioning and moving forward than he ever got a chance to do. Does that make sense to you, Dennis?
Yes.
All right? And there's part of that experience from him that he is living with you now, but just in a different place. All right? So he comes along for the ride. All right? But there's an intelligence about your dad that he had but not book learned. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right? And he finds where your intelligence comes more from book learned because he keeps showing me you always being kind of purposely searching out new information.
Yes.
You understand that? Helena, and I'm not done with Dad yet, but Helena, I'm also getting the sense from your dad of an intelligence, but more of somebody who's quiet about it. Do you understand that with your dad? No. You don't understand the quietness, or you don't understand the intelligence?
Probably both.
Really? Okay, let me reword it this way, because I'm not going to disagree with you, but I'm not going to agree with you either right now. So let me reword it with this way. There is a sense here with your father that there is a, it's almost like there is more, like Dennis's dad, there's more to do that he didn't get to do. Do you understand that part of it? And what he keeps coming back to me with is this sense that he didn't speak out. He didn't get his, what he wanted to do out there and get it done. I just don't feel he made the impact he wanted to make. Does that make sense to you, okay? The quietness of him comes to me in that way of not getting done what he wanted to get done. So to me, he's not somebody who comes out and look what I did, you know, this. He's really a bit of a shame part for him in that, if that makes sense to you. Okay? So with both dads, very different, but some similarities with the way that they are in personality, okay? It wasn't easy with Dad for both of you in some ways. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay? Because one of the things that they're both giving me is the sense that, Helena, especially with your dad, there's a sensitivity here that he did not say to you in a lot of ways how he really was. He kind of kept the mask up. And to me, the way he's giving it to me is that there was not the way he would come and say, I love you. He just wasn't that kind of guy. There is also, Dennis, with you, I feel your dad interacted with you.
Yes.
Okay? But you also understand where some part of your dad was also stepped back in how he dealt with people.
Yes.
All right? And again, that is some of the similarity between the two dads in the personality aspect. Helena, would you understand where Dad's illness and Dad's passing you were not as involved with?
Yes.
All right? Because there is the sensitivity from him in that area that he did not make it accessible to you. So this was not your fault in not being part of that. Okay?
Yes.
So the fact sometimes that we feel as children we should be, okay, it's always a two-way street. The fact that you were not part of his passing, his illness, that whole stretch was not and should not be on your shoulders. Okay, does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay? Now, Dennis, I feel with your dad illness also, you understand that process.
Yes.
All right? And with your dad, I keep getting a stretched out illness in terms of time period.
Yes.
Well, yes, or yes, you're not sure, or yes, you're saying no to me, because I got the yes of both ways there.
Yes, I'm agreeing.
Okay. Because the sense he's giving me is there was a decline here rather sharply,
Yes.
but it was stretched out.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what the sense he's giving me, decline. And you were aware of that and part of it, but not as intimate as you wanted to be.
Yes.
All right, so again, similarities with both dads in that process. One of the things your dad is giving to me for you is his pride in how you've handled your own difficulties in life. All right, your dad didn't handle difficulties too well.
Yes.
Do you understand that?
understand.
Because he did not see himself as wrong sometimes.
Yes.
You understand both the positive and not so positive of what you do.
Yes.
And he's bringing forward that as something different than how he handled his life. So he wants you to understand one thing especially, is that as you progress through this lifetime, you're doing it differently than he did it.
Yes.
And he's very proud of that. All right? The other thing that he brings up, and Helena, I'm going to get back to you in 1 second, okay? The other thing he brings up is his feeling. Am I okay? I still have time? I know I'm interrupting this little side thing over here. The other thing he's bringing to me here is the sense that he's almost giving me, I know this is going to sound a little strange, but let me just work with it for a minute. He's really giving me the sense here that you really do need, like the rest of us, but more so, you need a vacation, you need a break.
Yes.
Because I know we could all say, oh yeah, we need a vacation, but boy, Dennis, you really need a vacation. It's kind of like you're on fast forward all the time, and you're not giving yourself the chance to regenerate or relax or get back into like the day-to-day rhythm of things. And it's really like to kind of bring you a thought from Dad. You know, he's in the spirit world. He doesn't need you there yet.
Yes.
You understand? And it's really time to take a back step here and do a little relaxation.
Yes.
Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing.
Okay, you hearing Dad?
I'm hearing that.
Okay. And it really does come in the sense of being caring about you, not being smart, not being sassy about it, but about caring about you in terms of your longevity, your health, and what really kind of makes you tick.
Yes.
Okay? The other thought here is, your dad keeps showing me a picture that is of what I would consider himself a little bit younger, but your dad's a nice looking guy.
Yes.
Okay? He's, you know, he's it's not braggy, he's just nice looking guy. But he's giving me the sense of like this picture showing him kind of muscular through here, like he would have wanted to show off a little bit.
No.
You're saying no to the muscular part.
And to the showing off part.
All right.
Both. Yeah.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. Let me just work with this for a second. You must understand a picture where somebody's dad, because they keep showing me the beach, like the seashore, and I keep seeing somebody with their muscles, like showing off a bit.
Yes to the beach, no to the muscles and showing off.
No, I don't. I hear what you're saying to me, but this is something I could be missing, and I will say that.
Continue.
Thank you.
Just ignore the muscles.
Thank you. I don't want to ignore the
Or
muscles.
maybe they're on the ground on the
Digging for the muscles? I keep being shown a picture from 1965.
Okay.
Okay, and I want a picture at the shore, beach,
Yes.
whatever we call it here. I know
Yes.
everybody calls it differently.
Yes.
And I keep seeing in the background people with muscles and flexing their muscles. So I am going to say to you on this, it may not be your dad, and I will accept that, but I want you to go home and look for that picture. And I want, because there's a red bathing suit in there, and I want you to take a look. Okay? Because in the background of that, and I am sure about it, there's guys there with their muscles.
Okay.
All right? And then you give me a call, or you give Richard a call and let me know.
Dennis.
Don't show him the picture, though. Okay? And Helena, with your dad, there is that sense that, first of all, your dad's fine in the spirit world, okay? But the second part is that regret of not understanding you and not giving you the opportunity to understand him. Okay? And there's the real thought here of he missed out. He's giving me the sense that you are one of the kindest people that he has seen. Now, I don't know you, and I'm not just saying this to say this, but that's what he's giving me, that you are one of the kindest people, but you do not see it. you do not see your own kindness. And he wants to bring that forward so you understand from this day forward the impact that you have on other people's lives, because it is significant. So from father to father, even though you guys are not related, now you can be friends, okay? And from both dads, truly love. You're welcome. We're going to work right now, the three of us together. Richard, I think, was just volunteered by Bill.
Once again. So I'm going to explain the process. Bill said you sense a brother here, and it is on the right-hand side, but I can't grasp which person.
I felt it was forward here.
You felt it was forward.
You with a story about a brother. And I just know the spiritual world is paying attention to this brother. And I know that there's, and I don't say this in a negative sense, there is a big question of whether this brother will make it or not. And if I'm being absolutely honest with you, the spirit world don't know the answer to that right at this moment. It's a question of his will to fight. And at the moment, I'm not seeing as much of that will to fight. And that's, I nearly used the word the killer, but that's the killer. Yep. Because if you're not getting a fight here, then you're getting capitulation to the situation. And that's what the spirit world can't control. So if we can do a little bit of kicking ass here, okay. In the sense of, in the nicest possible way, the spirit world don't want him there. It's not his time to go there, but they need some help from him. And the only way that that can be done is a level of encouragement. And I use the terminology pain management. There seems to be issues of discomfort within the brother. Now, it's not so much physical, it's mental. It's mental pain, it's mental discomfort. Would you understand that? And when people have that, and I say this as I pick my vocabulary extremely carefully. I've been in this game a long time. But when people have a suicide mentality, which he has, then it makes it very difficult for the spiritual world to manage the situation better. But if they can encourage the person in the sense that you don't have to die to find peace of mind. You can find peace of mind while you're here, but you've got to have a reason to want to have that peace of mind. And going into the spiritual world is not going to answer that question, because you're going to be accountable for your thought processes when you go into the spirit world. So there's no free lunch in this process. So this idea of trying to capitulate to the spirit world and your problems are all solved, you're going to have to face up to the reasons that took you there, and that's not going to be any easier. So I know that the spiritual world is rallying around us to try to get the family to work as the nearest word that comes to my mind, and I know it's not the correct word. You understand the term palliative care? It's used in hospice systems where you help people to manage their emotional status. And it's the nearest word I can find is to try to encourage a reason to want to live and to go on. You would understand where in the spirit...
You're doing great.
Yeah, keep going.
Please.
We're good.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Don't stop.
You would understand in the spiritual world where there's a grandfather on father's side. Father's side, not mother's side.
For her or for me?
I felt for you.
Yes.
Grandfather, father's side.
Yes.
That would be dad's dad.
Yes.
Not there for the weekend and coming back next week.
Yes.
Okay? he seems to be the one, I don't know why specifically him, but he seems to be the one that's more involved in this process with you all to try to find a solution. But this may be something you need to find out, so I don't want you to believe me. I want you to investigate to find out. I feel he had his own issues in life when he was in this world that were not easy issues for him. So he has a personal understanding of sometimes you feel it's easier not to be here than to be here. But I know he's involved in this process. But the important thing is, ladies, he's one of many people in the background working, guiding, supporting. Last thing I want to say about this, then I'll bring in my colleagues if there's anything they want to bring in. There seems to be a question connected with his brother regarding geographical location.
He just moved. Wow. This is nice. He just moved.
Yeah, because there seems to be an issue about this.
That's good.
And I've got to say to you, sometimes you need a refreshment of a situation to allow a new perspective to take place. So we don't see the movement as being bad. We see the movement as being necessary. But that does not mean that he sees that. He's got to see that as being an improvement as well. But I want you to be aware that the spirit world is up to date with the geographical mobility. They're up to speed. So it's not that they don't know what the hell's going on. They know what's going on, but they feel like their hands are tied to be able to, we would say in Scotland, make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. That you can only work with what you've got. You can't work with more than that. But I do believe both of you have a role to play there. Now, I heard something that seems strange, but it was very, very quick. I'm not sure if it's correct. Do you know if connected in that situation or that history, there's somebody called Nancy? It sounded like Nancy, or somebody's being Nancy. Do you understand that terminology? Like somebody's being difficult, somebody's being not easy to work with.
Well, what's in?
They're being...
Nancy is a family name. My name was Nancy for 3 days.
Right, that's what it is then. Because I just know that they're talking about Nancy can be in this process, so obviously both of you, because I keep hearing it, Nancy, it's clear. And so it's just important for you to know that there is a job for you. It's not redundant. There is a job. It's sometimes a thankless job. You're not going to get your blessings and thanks for it. You've just got to keep the head down, keep going, think of Scotland. You've got to just keep doing those things. But know it is the right thing to do. Now, why they gave me a name that you had for 3 days, I have no bloody idea. But I just, and it could well be, ladies and gentlemen, you miss the first part of a name, you get the middle name, and you know, it could well be. But I just know that obviously it connects with you. And the last thing, because you can go on like this forever, that I didn't come here to work, I came here to observe you guys. Can you understand, connected with where this guy is, I use the terminology 13, but can you understand where there's a 1 and a 3? Now, I don't know if it's a house number or a telephone number, but the number 1 and 3 seem to be significant. You would understand that? Okay, because I keep seeing the 1 and 3 being shown to me. And I also, again, it sounds stupid, but it's like I'm being fitted out for new clothing. like as if I need to refresh myself. I need to look good, to feel good. So clearly with a brother, there's something about clothing or a feeling of being fresh with new clothing. Will you give some thought to that, please? You're not sure, are you?
New home.
No, that's part of the process of the change. We've been there, we've done that. Got the t-shirt, got the video, that's all done. No, it's this idea of like having an identity. Like somebody becomes a football fan or a baseball fan, or they have an identity of something to do with clothing. Like they have a baseball cap of the 49ers, well, it's San Francisco, isn't it? But it's something to do with identity. It's as if we're looking to find something he could get his teeth into and say, that's my interest. That's something that would give me a reason to get out of bed in the morning and a reason to move on in life. So it's that kind of clothing identity. So will you give some thought to that, please? Okay, anything you guys want to bring in? Because I knew I wanted this with a brother. It's been there the whole evening. That's what I said to you. Yeah. There's an issue with a brother across there.
Let's start though, let's get back for a second for the grandfather, okay, Dad's dad. Okay. That Bill brought up before, okay, because I know a lot of this has to do with what we've been talking about, what Bill's been talking about with the family situation, but there's still the communicator of Dad's dad, grandfather, with this. But there's one thought here also before we leave that subject of brother. Your name, I'm sorry?
Susan.
Susan, you have done everything that you could. It's really important to understand that, because there's the way that your grandfather's coming through with this is the sense here that you feel you haven't done everything that you can, but the knowledge is you've done everything you can. And sometimes what we have to do then is take a step back. So there's the thought here of what you've done has been well received and has been good enough. Okay? Can I talk to you for a minute about your grandfather? You did know him.
Yes.
Okay? Would you understand in the sense of his personality, this is a kind of guy to me that you could talk to.
My dad's dad, no. My mom's dad, yes.
No, we're with what?
Keep going. We were just talking about
the
mom's
brother
talking about
is
how to bring in
different.
mom's dad.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with that then. Okay.
Yeah.
You understand being able to talk to him.
I know.
To my dad's dad?
To mom's dad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
To my dad's dad.
Because this
To my
Mom's dad.
because
So
this.
Yes.
I'm waiting to bring in.
Okay.
mom.
Can I do a little bit more and then you add into that?
I got it.
Because there's the feeling here of somebody you could really sit down and talk with. Okay? And somebody who had what I would consider a good sense of humor, but also not something that everybody all understood, the humor. Like it was funny, but not everybody got it. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So there's still this personality in the spirit world in that sense of who he is. He hasn't lost it. Okay? He hasn't lost that sense of humor. But the way he's giving this to me, there's perspective. He could take things and put it into perspective, and then you could get a good gauge of something, because his perspective of things to me was very even and it was very fair.
Yes.
It's the sense of what's coming through in that way. But the feeling here is of a good guy.
Great.
Of a good guy, and somebody who certainly misses being part of this family. You know, as crazy as it can be sometimes, still misses that. So, did you want to add in?
Go ahead if you're not
No,
done.
go ahead, add in, and I'll jump back in.
I don't have a sense of that. Okay. All right.
Bill was checking in with me about a detail also that I don't have a sense of. But staying with your father, because I've been holding, while Bill was talking about your father-in-law, I kept feeling Dad the whole time. So, and that's not against, it was just, and he came over to me just as Sharon was bringing in. He said, do you sense the father? I said, yeah, I've been waiting to step up with him. So just a couple more details. Now, you both knew him, obviously. Your father's also a very proud man. I cannot discount his pride. And his pride in his family. Now, the issue that was being spoken of with your brother, your father still has a sense of pride in his son no matter what, because his son has tried to the best of his ability. Did you hear that? So your brother, even though he's struggling, has tried to the best of his ability. Your father's not judging him in any way. I want to be very clear about that. The next thing, Sharon said something like this already, but your father wants to make sure you don't take on more responsibility than you have to, because this is truly your brother's path. He agrees 100% with what Bill said. We can encourage, we can support, we can give brother new reasons for life. But your father doesn't want you to end up feeling like the mother and taking care of him all the time. Would you understand that? Please hear your dad trying to give you comfort.
Can everybody at the back hear it?
Can you all hear me okay? Am I projecting my voice loud enough?
Well, I know that
Thank you.
it's loud.
Thank you. One more thing. He's now moving to your daughter again, and I know Sharon was just connecting Pop, did you say?
Pop.
Pop, okay.
I have a pop and a
pop, okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm Pop. That's, but side note. With Pop, quite literally, respectfully, the thing that I just said to your mother about her being a mom and taking care of everything, your Pop wants you to live your life and not have to take care of your mother in this circumstance. So the information is the same for both of you as women, because you're willing to jump in and try to save mom and help mom and take care of mom. So very gently, hear Pop saying, live your life, support, pay attention, but don't jump in to save, okay? Can I leave that with you with Pop as he goes back to your mom? I don't have the other sense that you had, so I'm going to let that. One last thing.
I know what it is, but it's not for the public anyway.
Very good. In relationship to your father's passing, quite literally, this is an illness process, but it is not long. This is a sudden death in his dying. Yes. But this is let me retract, it's a physiological process, but a sudden death. Understood?
It was immediate.
Right, which you understood, it was immediate. But when I say it's a physiological process, it was not a car accident, it was not a murder, it was not a suicide,
yes.
It was a physiological
yes.
process.
Yes.
Now, you didn't get to say goodbye to your dad. Yes. I'm talking about the moment of death.
Yes.
You were told of his passing.
No.
Huh. I had the feeling of your mom telling you that Dad had passed.
No.
Okay, all right, I can hear your no. But I know you weren't there for his passing, correct?
No,
Yes,
she
I
was
was.
there.
This is after the fact. Hold on. So respectfully, the event occurs, but you weren't able to do anything about it. Got it. You weren't able to do anything about it. I'm supposed to absolve you of worry from your father that you couldn't do anything about it. This is literally immediate. So this was a heart attack?
Stroke.
Stroke. But were you told that there was an embolism, please?
No, embolism's the other side of the family.
Okay, so I am picking up on Pop.
That's Pop.
Pop, okay.
He had
So,
embolism.
say no more. I'm aware of his death as well. Here's the most important piece for you from your dad. Your desire to have responsibility and your need to be responsible to everybody, please let it go and just live your life, doing the best you can. And with your father, there was nothing more that could be done. Please hear that as his absolution of your responsibility, okay?
That's huge.
Just delivering his message. I'm glad to be one of the messengers here. Do you have anything else you need?
No, not appropriate. I don't have anything appropriate for the public.
Firstly, how do you shut it off? How do you not keep being bombarded by spirit being?
Not allowed.
Just like any human being has a no in their experience, we have a no. We're done. We close down. Each of us have learned how to shut off our experience to be able to enjoy the human life. None of us need to be walking around open to the spiritual realm the whole time.
It's exhausting.
It would be.
When I'm finished at night, I close the cemetery door and I go and watch the soccer. I go and play golf. I go for a beer.
And we've taught ourselves how to be in this world just like everyone else. The question is, when would somebody know when they're ready to become a student of the Inner Spiritual Center? The Inner Spiritual Center runs a 2-year program teaching in mediumship, intuitive, psychic, and mediumistic development, ultimately mediumistic development. For the answer, in my estimation, and I'll also refer to Bill and Sharon on this, in my estimation is when you're feeling this pull to want to know more about what your ability is, that's when I say you feel ready to join. You feel ready to jump in.
She gave me a reading concerning my father, basically in which he sent his love, expressed his respect, and said that I needed a vacation.
It took a few minutes to figure out who was talking to who about whom, but then it became very, very clear, and I really have a lot of direction right now and a lot of peace of mind as to how to move forward with this family situation.
My experience has always been positive with Richard and now tonight with Sharon. The accuracy in describing people physically who come into the readings is very high.
For me, it was very intriguing to say, wow, this is taking place, this is happening, and, you're still here.
The personalities of the people who come into the reading is spot on, and it just feels it's fascinating and validating.
Before my father-in-law passed, we had a private moment together, and Richard said exactly what he had said. He thanked me for taking care of his daughter, and he was spot on with it. So it was emotional. You get goosebumps. It was a nice feeling.
I'm into an intense program here, and Sharon is phenomenal. Bill is wonderful, and so is Richard. They are all absolutely phenomenal teachers.
You're always wondering why people pass and what and what they thought of you or what they're thinking of you, and it's nice to know that they're there. It's comforting. I recommend it to anybody, sure.
Gave me a lot of comfort, and so I truly appreciate it. It is a phenomenal experience, mediumship.
That there's a lightness that comes from this kind of work that you are able to take with you out of these experiences, and it's like a loss of concern, a loss of worry, because you've been reassured that there is this continuity of life, and that it doesn't, it's not like a book that gets shut and that's the end of it. So there's still relationships that you have, it's just a relationship in a different way.